Welcome to the Tabletop Gaming Guild Show. The Tabletop Gaming Guild Show is all about the memories and experiences of playing tabletop games with friends and family can create. On this episode, it's going to be about this or that. You're going to see what that means in a little bit, but first, we're going to talk about what we've been playing. And because I like throwing people under the bus, I'm going to throw Nathan under the bus. He could talk about what he's been playing first, and then he gets to pick someone.
Well, I think this is kind of not so much throwing me under a bus, but like a humble brag, I guess, because I've been playing the game he bought me, which is Smartphone Inc. This is a really good Euro game. It's almost, well, I suppose we already talked about whether we should call things Euro anymore, but this is a almost no luck at all in this game. It's all the information's open. The only element of luck in this game is do you have improvements that will flip, but everybody has access to the same improvements. And the whole point of the game is you have these tiles that have to overlap to determine what your actions are going to be for the turn. And how many spaces on the tiles you cover is as well as the certain symbols on these tiles will determine how many goods you get to sell, as well as the symbols would determine the price of your product. And price, people will buy the cheaper products first, so that becomes the first player. And you can do technologies to make it more desirable and get into new markets. And that's basically the game. It's marketing and distributing product. It's a very thinky game, and I won every time I've played it, so I really like it.
Yeah, I have a copy sitting on my shelf, and I need to play it still.
I think John's played this game too, hasn't he?
I have, yeah.
And what did you think?
It was one of those I don't know. It felt like I ran away with it. So it's kind of one of those I don't know if it's just everybody else needed to have made other choices or you know, but yeah, I mean, I played it once and like I said, I ran away with it, and so I needed to play it again to kind of see if it was just like some like weird imbalance that I lucked into, or if if there was a way to deal with whatever it was that I did.
Well, it's a game that, because there's no luck, the person who gets a good strategy and focuses is going to win. You can counter those, but it's basically a matter of getting the best strategy and running with it.
I hear a throwdown. It's going to be John versus Nathan.
Now, I think we did play this on the channel at one point.
I think you might have been one on playthrough. I was not in it.
Yeah, I was. I don't think I was on that one.
I don't remember if I won that one, but that doesn't count because I was teaching.
Oh,
You're not supposed to win when you're teaching.
uh-huh. So here it is. We're going to have a challenge here. And we're going to see which one is the mega person, John or Nathan. Next time.
Well, that's what I've been playing, so let's just throw over to John since we've been
All right.
talking
All
about
right.
it.
Well, I mean, I played a few games last weekend. I mean, I got a game of Pipeline in, which I'm still trying to figure out. Do I like it or not? It's kind of like I played it once, when it first came out, and I liked it then. But now I'm kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of one of those I just need to maybe play it one more time. I'm not sure.
Yeah. If you're willing to play it again, I'll play it again, but it's not one of those games where I'll be like,
Yeah,
let's play that.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I was like, you know what? I want most of the games in my collection are games where I'm like, I want to play this.
Right.
This
You want to
one,
be like, this is the one I suggest.
yeah, and I just don't feel that for the game now. I mean, it's got a lot of like things that I like. Set number of rounds, so the ending isn't like a surprise. Like, oh hey, someone had some card in their hand that let them, pull off 3 times things that they normally wouldn't be able to do, and they triggered the end of the game. Oh, too bad, too bad for you. So, I mean, I like that, but
I think for me, it's missing some, like, for me, it
yeah,
wasn't like exciting. I was just like,
yeah.
oh,
I mean,
I get to make something. Okay.
yeah, that's the thing is, yeah, it's just not exciting.
I
Which
never got
then,
the engine well, I wasn't good at the game, first off, but I never got an engine where I was like, wow, I'm going to have an amazing turn. It's just like, I got to do this.
yeah,
So I saw the pictures from SibCon. Is that where you played it?
yep, that was at SipCon, yeah.
My other question, is that a Splotter game? If I remember right.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But the one that I did play, and a lot of people liked it, and some of them that played it uh, didn't think they were going to like it, was Bear Raid. Everyone who played that one really enjoyed it. I mean, especially like once they kind of like the first round happened, and everybody started figuring out, oh, this is the kind of game it is, because it's a stock game, but it's not really a stock game. Or at least not like a traditional stock game. And it's also one where you don't, you're not directly doing things to the other opponents, but you can do things to the other opponents. It's really passive aggressive mean stuff you can do to other opponents. Like you'd be like, "Oh, I see you're heavily invested in banana. Wouldn't it be a shame if somebody took all the dice and then kept them behind their screen so this good news doesn't actually give you a boost to your stock?" And it's basically a lot of posturing, trying to like, okay, what could somebody do to hurt me, and what can I do to hurt somebody else, and what can I do to maybe instead be defensive and protect my investment. And so that's like a lot of the game. It's like it's more of a tug of war in positioning, but not like on a board positioning. It's more of like positioning yourself within the confines of the game. Which basically for anyone who hasn't played Bear Raid, you have multiple different stocks that you can buy and short, so you could be heavily vested negatively on the stock, so you're trying to tank its value to zero. And you basically have each stock has dice that you pull out of the dice bag every turn, and that shows how much interest there is in the current active news story for each of those stock. And you basically go and compare it. Like some news is good, some news is bad, some news is dependent upon how people feel about the stock. So like there could be a lot of interest in the story that's right now, but if they're bullish or bearish on the stock, will change how the stock price will be changed. So it's really interesting. I really enjoy it. Plus, also it's got a little bit of humor, kind of like the networks, is a little tongue in cheek. Like some of the news stories is CEO sent a stupid tweet. So
Yeah. It looks really impressive too on the table. It looks really nice. Oh, and Pipeline was published by Capstone Games. I knew it was a company. I was surprised at, like, it's not an ugly game, but it's not a good looking game. And Capstone is really good with good looking games. The cover's amazing.
yeah, the
cover
box
looks
art's amazing.
awesome. And the game itself, I mean, I'm not saying it's like horrible. It just something doesn't gel with the art. It just, blah.
Which is why I thought of Splotter games, really.
Yeah, a lot of Splotter games are just,
Yeah, I mean it wasn't bad.
it's very
I mean,
utilitarian.
yeah, it's just which is kind of is. It's like it's almost like an engineering, refinement. I mean, that's what you're doing is you're refining oil.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I really felt like I was a poor person refining oil. Please, sir,
Yeah, you're a guy out in the middle of the woods.
So I can,
has like your hand
have
pump,
Fred make oil. Fred's pushing oil.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, I feel like there's. We also got a few games of Epic in.
yeah, I liked Epic a lot.
Yeah. And even after the apocalypse happened.
Yeah, dumped so much water on it. They were like, oh my god. I was losing, by the way. So, that's what you do.
Yep.
Good thing it was water.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
But
I think we need context for what you're talking about.
Well, we were playing Epic,
Oh.
and he spilled water all over in the middle of the game. So I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, no!" So just like
So it's like-
scrambling, like
it's like
just
one of those
patting it off
towel
like I'm a
commercials.
shirt.
You're like, oh no.
Yeah,
We're like people are looking
like one of those
past
like, "Whoa!"
we're like going like this with like cars. So we don't have enough towels.
Yep.
I'm so bad. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So there was that. I feel like I got something else in, but oh yeah, it was a Bob Ross game.
Oh, I didn't play that one.
Yeah.
You seem very chill in that.
No, Bob Ross was not chill at all in that game.
That's
It's a lie. Bob Ross was not chill. He kept on advancing the track. We're like, chill out, Bob. And he just
Slow
was like,
down,
nope.
Bob.
And he's just like, whoop, just painting up a storm. It's like
Yeah.
finishing it before we're ready. Because it just like, he's only at 50% of the dice, size. But
Yeah.
and here's the thing is everybody else got bonus actions. But all I would ever roll is Bob
Bob
or
Ross's.
an action I can never use.
Ah, that sounds right.
So I never got a bonus action. Meanwhile, everyone else is like, "Oh, I'll just take more easels, or I'll get more paint." And like, it's like, "Oh, I'd love it if I could get some bonus actions from this die roll." Yeah, it wasn't very chill, or at least I didn't feel very chill.
I wouldn't. That's horrible.
All right, well, how about you, James? What else did you play?
Well, the big game, I didn't get to play at the convention. I got to play earlier because I was teaching it, and it's a teach. And that is the Great Wall. The Great Wall is an epic game from Awakened Realms, I believe, that had giant Kickstarter. And you basically are responsible to fend off the Mongol hordes. Whether you do that is sort of up to you, but the goal is to have the most honor. So whether it is for contributing to building the wall or actually defeating these Mongols, there's a lot of mechanics in play with the Mongol horde coming forward, and whether you put out your units for it or you devote some of your units to getting you more resources every round. It's a lot of moving pieces. The game itself is actually not that complicated. What the complication comes is remembering the flow of the game that you have to go through and like the order that you do things. They have no real good player aid on the little screens you have, but they do have a flow on 2 pages of the rule book, which I really wish they would have just took those and gave you a player aid, because you could be like, okay, this, because that sequencing is really important to maximize your points. And although there's a lot of things that can happen in the game, it's a game of efficiency. You will win if you're very efficient in what you pick. And you also have to be flexible in the game, which I do appreciate, like high strategy games that require flexibility so that you can pivot and still continue to make the most efficient moves. So you're not just being like, hey, I'm only going to make this wall, or hey, I'm only fighting off the Mongol horde. You have to diversify a little bit. You do want to only do those things to get a good amount of points, but you want to be like, hey, if this guy's going nuts on these Mongol hordes, they're going to take the cards. It's not worth me fighting. So I need to find something else to do, or another lane. So I like the game a lot. It's a very, very grandiose style game. I did have, that was Evan's copy that I played with. He also had the Kickstarter version of it. So, and he had the Kickstarter exclusive box in there. I will say most of the expansions and the Kickstarter exclusive stuff are like, eh. It does have the extra player in there, which is really cool. So you can have 5 players instead of the 4. So that's really awesome. The little modules, I think that if you get the full expansions, I think they're going to be better. But these little modules look like literally things that they threw as like stretch goals. And they're like, like, hey, you got the rat. Yay, it just gives you a resource or whatnot. So, so it's not really a full expansion. It's really just to add the extra player, and then some Kickstarter stretch goalie things. But I believe you had 2 more expansions coming for it.
3.
3 more expansions. Those full expansions will probably be a completely different experience because they are designed to be what they are instead of like little tiny things that got thrown in. But overall, really great game. I haven't played the cooperative mode. There's a cooperative mode in it, and there's a solo. There's a lot in this game. There's a lot of replayability. So much so that if you wanted to make this your lifestyle game for a little while, I think you could easily do it. So that was the Great Wall. I think it's amazing. I think Evan's going to love it. I really missed out and not getting to get a gameplay with Evan, but we'll get there. We'll get one. It'll be awesome. The other game, which may become a top 10 game for me, we'll see. It's definitely going to be in my top 20. So it might worm its way to top 10 if I can keep getting plays in of it. And that is The Last Kingdom. So The Last Kingdom is based off of the Netflix series The Last Kingdom, and the Netflix series is based off of The Last Kingdom books by Bernard Cornwell. So I've read the books, but I have not watched the Netflix series. And so I don't know what the differences are in the Netflix series, but playing the game, it seems pretty much verbatim, so I don't know. But the game itself really emulates the feel of the books. It probably emulates the feel of the series too, but it's a very backstabby game of high strategy where you're going to battle over 5 regions in England here. So this is over the formation of England, pre-England. And you're going to pick sides of Danes or Saxons. You're going to have your starting out sides, but you can flip throughout the conflicts. And you're going to gain points as the winner if you're on the winning side. But if you lose, you will gain action points, which there's a very tight economy that if you ever played Condottiere, where you have a limited amount of cards in your hand, but you have to make those stretch over X battles. That's how this is. You have a very limited card hand. You have 6 cards in your hand. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to get more cards through the round, and there's only 2 rounds. So you get 6 cards in the first round, 6 cards in the second round. You do have some opportunities if you wish to maybe get 1 or 2 in each round additionally, but you have to have those 6 cards make it through 5 battles, sometimes more. And once those 5 areas have peace, you go into the next round, and then you do that again. It has everything I like about the game. It's majority control, super simple for combat. It's just majority control. And you have drafting before that, so you draft your cards. It's just an amazing, amazing gem of a game that I think didn't do as well as it should have, because not very many people like screen capture art. So they don't like pictures of people from the film. It's not, and it's also really hard to make pictures from films look great. So I think that really hurt them. The Kickstarter did fund, it did do decent, but I think if they would have went with a different art or drawn art, they might have blown it out of the water. Not that I don't like the art, I just understand that like you're sort of niching yourself into a group of people when the game should fit a wider audience. So you're putting in a group of people that only like the Netflix series because the art's in it. But yeah, I think it's a really awesome game. I think it deserves a lot more attention than it got. It's good.
Yeah, I saw the Kickstarter and I almost immediately turned away from it because of the clip art, because that kind of just reminded me of the old IP based games where they were just kind of thrown together and there weren't necessarily a good game behind it.
I think a lot of seasoned board gamers have like that PS, like they're like, hey, PS, they have that thing that post-traumatic stress, they have that thing, PDS, where they see this thing with clip art or whatever the heck it is. I don't think it's called clip art, but the art from the movie and stuff, and they're like, or the stills, and they're like, this normally when that happens, the game is awful. So they're already assuming the game's going to be awful. I've played very few that are good with it.
I have a counterpoint for that.
Sure.
Star Wars games, a lot of the card games, I feel like there's more to it than just it being a screen grab. There's a certain I don't know, just quality to it. Like when it has like kind of like there's a certain just like color correction or feel. It feels very. Some of it can feel either very cheaply, or it could like a lot of the even just like the a lot of them which are just screen grabs. But I've never had that same reaction when playing like a Star Wars card game that's using
So the
screen
Star Wars
captures.
card game cheated. So the Star Wars card game, only a small percentage of them were actually screen captures. They retook pictures of the props too, a lot of it. So a good majority of the pictures were reshot because all the props were available to him from LucasArts. So
Are
it
we
wasn't
wait,
complete.
which one are we talking about?
The original CCG where you had the life deck,
Yeah.
and when your life deck ran out, you died.
Hmm.
The original one, I don't know if there was one before it. There probably was some crappy ones before it, but it was the one when in the '90s when I was a kid. I went down, I bought the booster packs. It was a full blown CCG.
Yep. I like
That
that
one.
one.
The art on it's amazing, and most of that was actually pictures that they took themselves and positioned everything. So, like,
Well, I
especially
mean,
the
some of it though
blasters and the
was
calm stuff.
characters though, like like they
Yeah,
had
some of it was.
like
Yeah.
every character from like the Cantina had like a name by the end of
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I mean, they did borrow heavily off of at the same time. They had the Star Wars RPG, the 60 D6. They did borrow heavy off the lore that added, and then some of the Timothy Zahn books had a lot of stuff. I don't know if it was Timothy Zahn, but there was the Tales from Java's Palace, also named a lot of them. So they took it from
Yeah.
that. They used a lot of. They really did it well.
Yeah, wasn't there also like a Lando themed one too? Is that the same one or like it
No,
was?
the Lando theme one came. That was the one that was the living card game later on, I
Hmm,
believe. The Star Wars CCG went a lot farther than I played,
yeah.
uh, but a lot farther.
I think the key to movie stills or TV show stills in a game is they can't just slap it on. There has to be some sort of wash, some color grading, or art done over top of it to make it actually match everything else in the game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the other problem is in a lot of movies they don't center the people, and it's really hard to crop people in because, especially how the movie was filmed. If it's an older movie, it's going to have really crappy resolution when you do that. Um, so newer movies, that's not quite the case. So where they were able to crop it just great with the Last Kingdom, you still have to deal with the fact that they weren't trying to do like cameo shots during the entire movie. So where Star Wars did have cameo shots for magazines and stuff that they could pull it from, that Netflix season probably didn't. So they're literally trying to stop it to get the best picture possible. And for some of the scenes, it's probably not going to work out as good as they want. You know,
Yeah, well, as you're saying, it's not shot for still images, so you
right,
have to go frame by frame and find the absolutely best frame,
right.
and there may not be a great frame.
And where you draw them, you always have the perfect pose. Like you just do it.
Yeah,
But I think the game is great. I really highly recommend giving it a shot. Peter from our channel got to play it and he loved it. He wants to play it again. You can get very butthurt in the game though. It is a straight up diplomacy game, and then when you got somebody who's playing very badly, it's just so aggravating. Like tensions get high because you just got this person who's like, I'm just a Dane. I'm like, why are you a Dane? You're getting 5 points and they're getting 20. Switch sides. Start doing bad things to them.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there's some king making in it, even if you don't expect it. But
Well,
real quick about go ahead.
maybe you shouldn't have been trying to be the king then. That's all I'm gonna say.
I wasn't the king. I was not. Oh, dang it! I was the king.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were literally the king.
The king in that game. I was literally the king, but I wasn't the king in the game. I think I lost by 80 points.
Oof.
It was bad. But the last game I'm going to throw out really quick is Four Gardens. Four Gardens is a beautiful, beautiful game where you have this pagoda on there. And you're trying to make a panoramic garden as you play through. And what's really cool about this is the pagoda is not just a set piece. It's not you're just putting beautiful pieces on a board or anything. It is actually a puzzle. So the pagoda itself, you're going to rotate it, and that's going to determine how you can get resources. And you can always get less resources than what's showing in general. That's not always true. So you have to pick cards that let you go from the top to the bottom or bottom to top so that you can get what you want. And then the resources are not the easiest thing to move. But you need those to complete your need those to complete your different parts of your panoramic view. And there's different sets, so you have to definitely think about being very economic with your cards. Really fun game, incredibly easy to teach. It's a family weight game. I think it's going to hit the table a lot just because I could play it with literally anyone and they'll get it really quick. And it's fun still because I love that puzzle. And I love the puzzle when people wreck it because they're like, no, I want to turn this and get this stuff. I'm like, why? I just spent my turn fixing that. It's a good game. It's a good game. So let's move on to Evan. Evan, what you got?
So I had a light little bit here with some stuff going on, but the most recent thing that I did get to play with my wife is
Boop.
Boop.
You have to say boop.
Boop.
Are you
So-
gonna get boop? The Halloween one?
Possibly. So in Boop, you are playing as cats that are jumping on the bed.
Yeah.
You start
As they do.
You start at your pieces as kittens, and your goal is to get 3 in a row to make cats. And to win the game, you got to get 3 cats in a row, or if you can get all your cat pieces onto the mat. The mat it's set up like a grid, and anytime you place a piece out, any pieces that are touching that piece have to move 1 space out, whether it's yours or your opponent's. The only time it doesn't move is if there's 2 pieces in a row that would block it, or if the piece is bigger. So like if you would put a kitten down, it wouldn't move a cat. So there's a lot of higher level thinking into this game for how simplistic this game is. My wife and I, we played a game of it, probably done in 10 to 15 minutes. She demolished me, which is very, very fitting because it is a cat game and she loves cats. But she did really, really well. It was up for some awards, like Benson level awards, and I can see why, because of the different level of thinking you have put into the game. Real good game, real good game. Only plays 2 players, but if you want a quick, fast 2-player game, I would say definitely get it. Spark and Dagger did a great job with that.
I could definitely see where that would win a Mensa because it's like perfect for that sort of award.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'll just have to borrow that next time I'm up there, with no intention of returning it.
I think you'll have a fight.
You would have to feel the wrath of Kim.
Yeah.
I'll blame the cat.
Nah.
Also, the instruction book is written really well. There's some nice tongue-in-cheek into there, such as they tell you that whenever you place your piece out there, you have to go and make cat noises or go boop.
Nice.
I would just make the cat screeching sound every time. Throws the opponent off.
But it's a game that I could see getting a lot of plays here, especially when I play something but don't have a lot of time and just want to do something. It would fit a bunch of different categories like that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much tops out what I've been playing recently. So,
okay. So that's what we've been playing. Now we're going to get into the news. And do I have some weird news for you guys? So the first one is there's going to be a Mandalorian-inspired solo RPG Notoriously explores the edge of the war-torn galaxy in the Outsiders expansion. So first off, solo RPG. Not sure how that's going to work. If they're going to use like cards and stuff. It has like a funky sort of weird Where's Waldo art to it. Like it literally looks like Where's Waldo. I'll put a picture up on Nathan's face here. I'm kidding. I put a picture up here. Oh yeah, right there. Here. But yeah, you'll see what I mean. It's like Where's Waldo has like a specific like stylish art that if you would buy the Where's Waldo books, and it really looks like that type of art. But I'm interested in a solo RPG to a certain level. So, and I like the Mandalorian, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it seems like solo RPGs or GM-less RPGs are actually growing. I think the one I'm most familiar with is a Thousand Year Vampire, and basically the way that one works is basically prompt
Okay,
based.
well, I mean, you could do that or play a board game. I guess. Okay.
Oh yeah,
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So no, I mean that's pretty interesting. Probably not as interesting as the last one I'm going to talk about. I have two more. I have two more in between. So Pokemon is latest promo card is Pikachu Van Go, and apparently it's ridiculously popular. So people are buying up this Van Gogh inspired Pikachu. Uh, that's probably lame card. That's not very powerful.
Probably, but it does look pretty cool. I did see
It
it.
looks amazing. So it is a 60 HP Pikachu and it has Pika Portrait. Search your deck for a Pikachu and put it onto your bench for electric energy.
So yeah, very basic, you know.
It's a basic Pokemon that you could just pull more Pokemon with it or more Pikachus. So, okay. But yeah, it does look pretty cool. This other one's really weird. So Barbie is poising to take out Warhammer 40K. So uh, Barbie has imagined a Warhammer style game. I'm not entirely sure how this works. So they're strapping. So there's a toy that I got my daughters at one point, which is called the Sylvanian Families toy thing you do. So there's like these little animals there that are like little tiny fuzzy animal things that are sort of hard plastic with fur on them. And they're gluing Warhammer parts to them. So fuzzy woodland creatures and using them to play a Warhammer like game. So it's called War Barbie 2023 is a competition set up by Lawrence Senator, who goes by some really long name that I don't care about. He's a miniature crafter and painter. He's best known for giant, detailed dioramas, kit bashed together using Warhammer pieces and various other junk. So, okay. Warhammer Barbie.
You know, it really feels like they should have just gone with instead of Warhammer Barbie, Barbenhammer.
Barbenhammer. That would have been so much better. So much better. I would have very much appreciated that a lot. Uh, do you know what's better than one new CCG like Lorcana? What would be better than one brand new CCG?
Zero.
20.
Yeah. How about a Star Wars one? Star Wars Unlimited is coming in 2024, and they're trying to take out Magic the Gathering. Ain't happening, no matter how bad Hasbro screws it up. But yeah, so another CTG. It's going to be Star Wars. It looks like a classic Star Wars, but it's like almost a comic book drawing feel to it, like an old school comic book. So if you've seen like the classic Star Wars comic look that they came with the when they reprinted the Star Wars RPG with the D6 stuff, that sort of looks like the art that's going to be on these CCG cards, which is a little weird because it's coming from Fantasy Flight. So they have this older art here, but then they're using like the poppy art that comes with the normal, like newer Star Wars games that you see from them. So the art doesn't seem to match. So if you understand what I mean, sort of.
Yeah, it's
I'll
kind of like the same problem I had with like the Big Trouble in Little China Legendary game, where
yeah,
like it was
it's
just all over the place.
yeah, and I don't know that it is all over the place, except for it just looked like it might be all over the place. But definitely the box art is wonky. So I would like the art to be separated, and I would like both of them, but I'm not sure about them together. Uh, and I'm probably not buying it anyway, so it doesn't even matter if they change the art.
How about a Munchkin CCG? I got some of those
There
cards. Sadly.
actually is a Munchkin CCG,
Oh, I know.
which was designed by, I believe, Eric M. Lang.
It's
I'm pretty
actually pretty
sure.
good. I won.
Well, of course it was. He's the greatest designer on the face of the planet. What do you expect?
I don't know. For it to have been popular.
Oh, well, no, he did. Yeah, okay. So, yeah,
I mean, I did
he,
do like the tournament at Origins that they had. I mean, I won in prize money, but then that was just basically I had to do better than two people.
yeah, I had the CCG for a while, and no one was really playing it, so I was like, and I gave it away.
Yeah.
Basically, what happened with that.
I mean, me
Uh,
and my buddy like made our decks like that day to play it, and
it's fun.
yeah,
I thought I was enjoyable. If you have cards, I'll play it with you. Just you know,
I got a lot of cards for a lot of dead CCGs.
I definitely like it a lot better. Oh, do you? Yeah, some of those old CGGs I want to play again.
I got like one that's like some space themed one that has. I have a bunch of also got the cassettes for it. So it's like the Doctor from Deep Space Nine has like an audio cassette with the game or something. I don't know.
That just sounds awful. I want to play that.
Yeah, I think it
I
is awful. I never played it, but I
The '90s was definitely a time of fun CCGs and mostly awful CCGs, mostly awful. But yeah. So that's my news. Does anyone else have any news they want to share?
I actually just stumbled across one. I didn't realize that it was out here yet, but right now on Kickstarter is the Hello Kitty Day at the Park game. It is actually doing very, very well.
Of course it is. It's Hello Kitty.
As of this recording, it has raised $76,000 from 1,166 backers. Still has 28 days to go. If you scroll through it, it looks like it's a combination. Well, it looks like a Carcassonne tile laying, and then you move your token around and collect items, and you turn those items in to score points off cards. But the most interesting thing that I found on there is the designer, actually, previous projects they designed, one of James' most favorite games in the whole world.
Oh, what's
They
that?
designed Tapeworm.
Oh, so now I know it's going to be god awful.
But yeah, so it launched not that long ago, and it is absolutely exploding on Kickstarter. I'm actually going to watch this because I am curious where this is going to end, just out of pure curiosity.
You have weird curiosity
I do.
that I think is unjustified for that. Hello Kitty, come on.
Well, there is one Kickstarter I was eyeing up that I saw. When did it come out? It's probably like couldn't have been that long ago because I think there's like still 30 days plus left for it. And I think we posted in the channel the Shivers.
Yeah, they
I'm
like
very
really
tempted.
cool pop up book thing you do. So I think that yeah the yeah. So yeah, I think that's going to be amazing. I've never played the game, so I don't even have a clue how to play, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, I've seen it multiple times. Like I don't even know how many years now I've seen the Shivers every time I've gone to like Origins and PAX. But they always have a booth there, and it always looks really cool. I think it's kind of more like, it's kind of one of those things. I don't know if there's a lot of replayability to it.
I think that's the problem with it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Although
playing it for the first time would be pretty fun, though.
I agree. Yeah.
But the thing is, though, there is the storyteller rule. So, I mean, there is the possibility of being able to run it for other people, I feel like. I don't know. I mean, being able to run it for multiple groups, might make it worthwhile.
It feels like the game that I would play, I would finish and then just give away. Because they'd be like, I think the replay. I mean, unless I haven't played it first off, but yeah. Although the one thing I'm going to throw out is I'm surprised that Evan didn't mention Final Girl season 3 or series 3 is on Kickstarter.
So yeah, that's out on Kickstarter, and that's intrigued me. Van Wilder Games.
Yeah.
So it takes their hostage negotiator game, which was moderately popular when it first released and kind of cooled off. And it's not a bad game. There's a digital app for it that you can play the game. It's not a bad game, but it's not great either. They took that system, refined it a lot, and released it into the system, their Final Girl system. So it's a solo-only game. And what's really cool is you're playing through these different like horror-esque style games, which they take a lot of pieces from different classic or modern, horror styles.
Horror movies, yeah.
And they make a game with it. But what's really cool is you can take your heroine that you're playing as in one game and mix and match it with your horror person from a different one, and it's all interchangeable even through season 2, and I believe probably season 3. I can't imagine they would change that for season 3.
Yeah.
And each season, I think it's somewhere between like 8 to 12 that you're getting in each one, so it's a huge amount of replayability in this. And it's one of those, I'm not a huge solo gamer. There's a couple solo games that I don't mind playing. This is one of those ones that I would be really interested in playing. I'm not a horror fan at all. I don't care for horror movies like really at all. But in a style of game like this, I could see myself wanting to play and wanting to try this. I'm very, very interested in them. But the price tag is one thing that does keep me away from doing that. But I have kicked around because you could sometimes find parts and pieces of like season 1 or season 2 moderately cheap on trade boards all the time. So that's something I've kicked around, but I've never pulled the trigger on. I'm almost there. Every time I see it, I'm almost there.
So for the low price of $549, you can get Series 1 Ultimate Box, Series 2 Ultimate Box, Series 3 Ultimate Box, plus 5 more things, and all the campaign Kickstarter goals. Only $549. It'll come to you on a fork truck in a crate.
You're buying it for me, right, James?
Oh, look at that. I think I lost Evan right now. I can't hear him.
I did remember the piece of news I was wanting to talk about. And that is Food Chain Magnet is going to be coming soon to GameFound. A special edition.
Yeah. Still doesn't look that great, but it looks a lot better than the original.
Right. The original was Splatter, and this new one is being produced by Lucky Duck.
It's in combination with Splatter, so I have a feeling that it may be printed as them overseas.
Ah, okay.
I don't know that for sure, but that's what I'm assuming. Plus, Splatter has the rights to it, so either that or they just leased it to that. Because Lucky Duck Games has been printing a lot of stuff. Like they printed the what was that other set they printed? Where you race around the board and the little ski-doos. That was based on the beach style game done by was it Druid City Games? It looks like Final Fantasy. You have it. It comes in a giant box.
I have it.
You do have it. You backed it.
What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Banner Festival was the one that Lucky Duck Games printed, and it was after something
Oh.
Blades.
Yeah, Tidal Blades. I
Tidal
don't
Blades,
have
yeah.
Banner Festival. Yeah, and I haven't
No,
played
you don't have, I didn't give you Banner Festival. It's not. You wouldn't probably like it anyway. But it wasn't a bad game. But yeah, they seem to be like co-oping with a lot of stuff.
it. Hmm.
And Food Chain Magnet's a fun game that I've never let Nathan play yet,
Yeah,
and he got it for me.
I got it. It was a Braille game for me, and I found it and I gave it to James, and I have yet to play
First mistake.
it.
James
Yeah,
will promise to play it with you and never do.
Yep.
that's pretty much how that worked. But we're moving on. All right. Anyone else have any news they want to shoot out there? Looking
How
pretty
about
good.
the Terraforming Mars Prelude 2, where they noticed that they're using AI art?
I was going to do a whole. I want to bring an episode for
Terraforming
AI
Mars
art.
has a long history of sucking at production. I think their worst produced game ever was the Terraforming Mars dice game. That thing is hideous. They do like ridiculous things in it. Like they have dividers for your different sets of cards, so they're the same size as the cards. In fact, there are the cards. They're just printed as how do they? Their production quality is just awful every time, and they do so cheap stuff like the clip art in Terraforming Mars.
Yeah.
The best art of any one period, which I don't even know how that ever happened, and production quality is Terraforming Mars Ares. Terraforming Mars Ares actually has good art, so I don't. That's like a fluke, but
Yeah, it
yeah,
does. Now I'm thinking about it. It does that like in comparison. Maybe that's why they're like, oh well, we tried doing real art and you know, it didn't sell well.
I don't know if it didn't sell well. They sold. It was in every Target everywhere. So
See, I thought that there was like they were unhappy with it or something, but I can't imagine how.
yeah, because it
like
looks good.
seemed,
Probably you're like, wow, this doesn't look horrible like our other ones.
yeah.
And they did have a gem with Terraforming Mars, and Terraforming Mars Ares was good, but it feels like everything else went downhill. The dice game is awful, uh, just awful. So I think they had to backtrack a little bit, and then yeah, this AI art crap. I'm like, that does not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
I'm plus Prelude is the best one, so they're the only expansion I really use. So it was really cool that there's extra Prelude cards, but there's zero purpose for me to ever back it on Kickstarter. I learned my lesson not to do that because they use the people on Kickstarter to test whether you have a threshold for them having bad production or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time I Kickstarted it, the cards were misprinted, the backs were bad. In fact, I was told to get sleeves, is what they told all the backers, because the colors were so far off.
Wow.
And it was just like so bad. And that was from like Stephen Bonacore. They have that on BGG. It's bad.
Did we lose Jane? Oh no, there he's
I'm back. Yeah, that was bad. It was on BGG. You can look up that whole Chronicle stuff. Yeah, it was just bad. Bad. They're no. So yeah, I won't back anything from them. They don't even have any Kickstarter exclusives anyway. So there's no value in it.
Even
cost you
Barnacle
a
even
lot.
tried to censor you just then.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's on BGG. You can check it out. But
all right. So
that one was for the one I disliked a lot too.
Yeah.
It was like the second to last expansion or the last expansion with the council and everything.
I liked it.
That's because you're weird.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to deny that either.
You're like, yeah, it's totally true.
It's like saying I'm fat, you know.
Your favorite Star Wars one was Episode 2 because you're like, oh, the Senate. We're going into deliberations. E.T.'s there. Look, it's E.T.
I think we need to move on.
Yeah. He was like, I hate you. He's
I can't give you any harder of a stink eye.
It's so good.
I mean, he's not wrong.
All right. That was awesome. Anyway, so let's move on to our main topic. We're going to do this or that. And we'll go round robin in there. And everyone has their own interpretation of what the hell this or that is. My interpretation is it's strictly board games. But that doesn't mean what anyone else's interpretation is. And I'm going to start off with a doozy.
Oh, you're going to start off with a hot take?
I'm going to start off with a hot take, which might have some controversy. All right. Yes, exactly. So my first one is this or that. So Quacks of Quedlinburg or Wonderland Wars. They both have the same main mechanic going, where you get chips, you put them into a bag, and you try not to bust when pulling them from the bag. So in that's their similarities. They both have enough difference that they're different games. That is the mechanism I'm picking on. So with that mechanism, would you pick Wax of Quedlinburg or Wonderland Wars, and why? I have my answer, but I'm interested to see what any of you guys think there.
I mean, I like both games.
For me, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, let's do Evan first. I know what Evan's answer is.
Yeah, but mine's Wonderland's easily, just because I like the theme more.
Okay, so that's fair enough.
Straight up theme wise, I think it encapsulates a theme very well, and using the Alice in Wonderland theme for a push your luck, I think, is a very fitting use of that theme also. So I think it really works for that. I really, really liked it a lot. So,
all right, plus that has good art.
Really, really good art.
Nathan, did you play both of those?
Well, for me, it's hands down Quacks of Quedlinburg, because I have not played Wonderland's War. And, you know, it can't be that good if you guys haven't got me to play it yet, right?
That just means we just didn't include you.
Yeah, you know what? Come on over. We'll meet up at Evans. We'll play it tomorrow.
Oh, PAX Unplugged. You guys we could meet up at PAX Unplugged. I can't go to PAX Unplugged, but we could meet up at PAX Unplugged.
Why
Just
not?
go there and just wait for me.
All right.
Nathan, anytime you come down from the far north, I will pull out my deluxe version. We'll play it.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, enough of us are dorks at work that we are going to try. So I have to meet in Allentown at one point for where I work. So we're actually going to try to rig it up so we can go to PAX Unplugged
Nice.
next year. So I'm hoping that works out. But so John, you've played both.
I've played both.
Okay, so what's your opinion?
Well, I mean, I like Quacks enough that I purchased it, so I have it sitting on my shelf. I don't.
So do you own Wonderland Wars?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I don't own Wonderland Wars.
Oh, really?
Or Wonderland's War.
Wonderland War.
Which one's the wrong one now? Because
I have no idea. I'm just gonna say what I say, and it's gonna be what I say.
Because I know one of them makes Peter upset, and that's the one I want to say.
I'm pretty sure it's the one where I kept adding the S to the end.
Yeah, it's actually Wonderland's War, so we say Wonderland Wars.
Yes.
That's what it's called. Wonderland Wars.
Yep. So right now, if you put both of them on a table, though, and say, which one do you want to play? I'm probably going to go with Wonderland. Just because I haven't played it as much. I've only played it once, and I enjoyed it, and I would like to play it more. While Quacks, I've played, probably like at least, like 7 or 8 times so far.
Yeah. I will say, so I'm going to even it out here, and we'll have undecided, because I like Wonderland Wars a lot. I will play it. I will sometimes be in the mood to play it over Quacks of Quedlinburg. But the difference for me is time. Quacks of Quedlinburg takes significantly less time to play than Wonderland Wars. We're going with that title. You're welcome, Peter. But I mean, there's a lot of Quacks of Quedlinburg is also far simpler. It's very straightforward. I could teach Quacks of Quedlinburg in 10 minutes and we're playing. So just there, it's going to get to the table far more often than Wonderland War, because Wonderland War takes a little bit more of a teach. It's more of an in-depth game, and there's more things to consider and think about in the game in the different phases, especially when you resolve those different battlefields out there. So it fits a different audience. I'm going to keep both games, but I do think Quacks of Quedlinburg edges out Wonderland War just for that, just for the fact that I can get it out more often.
Yeah,
It goes for more people.
you see, like all those things that you just listed were the reason why Wonderland Wars edges out Quacks for me.
Sure, it's a personal thing. For me, I play with a lot of my daughters and their teenagers, and a lot of like people that don't play board games constantly. So that skews my picks a little bit. So now we're 50-50. You'll have to pick on
See, we're going to make this
pick
easy.
yourself.
I'm going on to our calendar now, and I'm adding a playthrough of it, so then we can have Nathan.
Oh, there we go.
Problem solved.
See if you can try to move Nathan over or be like, here, Nathan, here's a candy bar. You're gonna like it.
See, this is the perk of having the person that does the scheduling right here.
That is the perk. Yeah, it would be fun. It'd be great to do a playthrough of it on the channel.
I would like to play it again.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just interested in to pick on Nathan because I do it all the time. So, what hot garbage do you have for this or that, Nathan?
Well,
It's probably gonna be great, but I'm gonna call it hot garbage. Good.
I do have one that I added to the list
Okay.
after we recorded. It's really just specifically for you, since you're picking on me.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I appreciate this.
So you play Tang Gardens, right?
I play Tang Gardens, yes.
So Four Gardens versus Tang Gardens. They do sound like they have a similar theme. So I want to know how they compare to each other.
So Tang Gardens is more beautiful by a lot than Four Gardens, because Four Gardens you just have that pagoda in the middle, and the art of the card's really cool. But in Tang Gardens, you're putting down the little what do you call them, pergolas or whatever, and the other features on there, and it looks amazing by the time you're done. And there's a lot of strategy in where you place your people at, so which direction they're pointing and stuff like that. Plus, there's a lot more bonus tiles. But with that said, Tang Garden has a lot of crap going on it, and Four Gardens doesn't. Four Gardens is completely straightforward, yet there's a good bit of strategy that's more in the abstract realm. Even though Tang Gardens is still has an abstract element to it. Four Gardens, if you remove all the pretty stuff, it's 100% an abstract game. So I like that a lot. And just again, getting back into the Quacks of Quedlinburg problem, it's a lot easier to teach Four Gardens because his rule set is far less. Not that Tang Gardens has a lot of rules to it or anything, but you're talking about I can teach Four Gardens in like 5 minutes flat, where Tang Gardens might take me 10 or 15. But if you're looking for an amazing, beautiful game that's fun, it's Tang Garden. But if you're looking for just a straight up abstract strategy game that plays in a decent amount of time, it's Four Gardens. So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I haven't played Four Gardens, but I did feel that with what you're saying with Tang Gardens. It is really nice looking. The three-dimensionality is really cool. And the game mechanic overall is really fun, but it did feel like there could have been a slightly more refinement to it.
Yeah, I think it had more than it needed. Like a lot of the little fiddly stuff didn't really matter. So like, why do you have it?
Yeah.
But it's not a bad game. It's just, I mean, pick between the two.
So have either of you played either of those games?
Nope. Mine's a pass. It's a this, that, or pass.
I'll take the Four Seasons because that's a luxury hotel and I can get all the amenities.
That's true. You get a free continental breakfast.
Are you sure you're getting the hotel or the landscaping company?
Oh,
Oh, that's a good question.
That's true. If you go to Four Seasons Hotel, you could have printed pancakes. Literally, it prints pancakes for you. It's like the demon printer, but it's pancake style. It's like Canadian.
Don't imagine that tasting that good.
They're
But
not bad. It's pancake batter, and it just puts it in a form and bakes it, and then it comes out like a printer. Maybe not the appetizing thing in the world, but you know.
Okay, so
Seeing
Evan,
as
what is your
how-
this and that?
So let me grab my cheat sheet here. So I'm going off of different. I didn't necessarily pick games, but just certain styles or certain aspects of games, certain themes to kind of see where you guys are thinking. So if you had to pick a game, would you prefer a low player count, like 2-player game, or would you want to play something that is a high player count, 5+?
No in the middle. Just has to be either
Low or
super
high?
low or super high.
See, I think that's fair, but my thing has to have caveats to it. So if it's a simple game, I like high player counts because I can play it with a large amount of people because I normally have a large amount of people. So simple game, low play time. So think like Seven Wonders with 7 players, or the Great Dalmoody, or just stuff like that. But I want a lower player count for the heavier games. Like I don't want to go over 4. I mean, even for the Great Wall, I think 4 is good. It does have the 5th player one, and I would play the 5th player one, but I know it's going to make the game a lot longer. So yeah, so heavy games 4 or less, low player count. Light games, I like having them higher player counts, especially if they get better with more player interaction. You get like Cosmic Encounter that I make fun of all the time is only good at super high player counts. So yeah, so that's my caveat to your thing.
I have somewhat of a caveat too.
It's caviar.
Sure. I will almost, given the choice, I will always change the higher player counts.
Because you're
But in
insane.
reality, I never have enough players for the higher player count games. So I tend not to get higher player count games because I'll never play them. And I tend to get the smaller player count games more often. So preference is high player counts, reality is low.
I do have another caveat. I like a super heavy game at high player counts, and that is Twilight Imperium is best with a ton of players, even though it takes longer. It is amazing.
Yeah, well,
I have no
Twilight
problem with
Imperium
long
with
games.
3 players is unplayable.
I haven't done that before. That's
I
way
have.
too low.
Multiple
Oh,
times.
man.
And it is pretty much standoff until somebody finally decides to shoot somebody else, and then the other person clears up. You know, it's just like,
Yeah, so
and you
that's,
know
that
that's what's
happens
going to
in
happen.
that happens in a lot of like war games. If you play 3 players, you just don't do anything because you know that third player is going to wipe the floor with you guys as soon as you're weak because
Yep.
you've just plowed into each other and tried to kill each other. Yeah, so I could definitely see that being really crappy.
So,
So what do you think?
Well-
you skew to.
if I was to go with what I would skew to is just kind of taking it as a general rule of thumb. So without putting in any specific caveats of, like huge
You don't need
games.
any addendums.
No, I'm not going to. I'm going to do addendumless. So given the
Addendum.
choice,
All right, we're
I
going
would-
addendumless.
I would go with lower player count. Simply
Okay.
because of the fact that typically a lot of games, once you get above 4, start running sluggishly. Like like the playtime skyrockets, and a lot of times it feels like it's unbalanced. Now there are some games that are obviously better with that, but I mean, as a general rule of thumb, I feel like going lower player count is a better time, investment because it's usually, going to get it played in a reasonable amount of time. You're not going to be sitting there at 2:00 in the morning, but like, somebody just finished the game.
Yeah. That is the worst when you're like, I was enjoying this game 2 hours ago.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I would skew towards the lower player counts, just as a general rule of thumb. I mean, the sweet spot is neither of these two options, which is like 4 player. That's usually the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I kind of left that middle
Yeah.
area because a lot of people would usually
Yes.
gravitate to that 3 or 4. So that's why I wanted to go with the
Yeah, with the
ends of
extremes,
them.
and that's why I'm going with the lower end.
So what about you, Evan?
Um, so mine is based off of the reality of would
Okay.
I like to play
Well,
the
people are
higher
using
player counts
reality
of
and
5
stuff.
plus? Yes. The reality is, am I more likely to play a lower player count of 2 or 3 player? Yes.
So you're pulling a Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's a lot of 5 plus games, 5 player games or higher games that I would love to play more frequently, but that requires having 5 plus players available to play them, which in itself is very hard.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, John, what's your this or that?
I got so many to choose from, and like Evan, I went with more of the, you know,
Hot garbage?
no, I would say the more uh, intellectually stimulating one instead of
Oh,
just picking
that's an
two
interesting
games.
word for that.
Yes,
Couldn't think
this
of
or
it.
that,
Come back
if you
on
will.
that. Okay.
All right, so I went with. Do you like a game that has a set number of rounds that the game is played in, or it's based on an achievement? You know, basically somebody gets to X amount of thing first, and this is a this or dat, or do you like one
This
where
this or that or that. Which one?
random, where the ending is just totally random, and your every turn you're like, I don't know if the game's ending yet because we're just waiting for one thing to come out of a deck.
Okay. That last one is just monster.
Yeah.
I'll go first because mine's super simple. I like structure. I want to know when the game ends. I like a set rounds. I always gravitate towards that.
Yeah, but don't you think
So,
you get some suspense though if you're uncertain of when the game's ending?
I'm gonna win anyway.
so,
What does it matter?
so I actually like the random ending in more of a, you put the ending card at like the bottom 4 cards, shuffle them up and put it at the bottom. So is it semi-set? Yes,
Yeah, it
because
could be.
you're going to get at least 10, but is it going to be 11? Is it going to be 13? So it puts a little more tension into the game, and I like that. That's probably where I fall.
Mine, I'm going to be a lot more wishy-washy. It really does depend on the style of game. A short, fast game, yes, I go for the random ending. Bigger games, I want fixed endings. Overall, I generally prefer the fixed endings. I like to know what I like to be able to plan and know exactly what I'm trying to do. And if I fail to do my plan, that's my fault, not the fact that the game ended early and I had bad luck.
All right, so no one's going with the achievement based ending, like with Twilight Imperium. You're like
Are
you're
you
racing.
going with the achievement based ending?
No, that's terrible. I hate
I
that.
know, right? It's like so horrible. I
Yeah,
hate that.
I would be between the dis or the that. The basically like I kind of like the suspension of all right, it's do I push my luck? Maybe it ends this turn, maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't end this turn, I will profit greatly from this. But if it does, I am in trouble.
You
But then
profit greatly. Yeah.
but I if I was to choose though, ultimately I would choose I think the structured one. It's
Yeah.
really close tie between those two for me though.
I like the fact that you can gauge the ending of the game and it has a set length in general, so you can expect it to last X amount of time. If you have a variable ending, a lot of the time those games can drag, depending if people are
Yeah.
just not trying to do what needs to be done.
Or like
Then
I think you get that a lot more with like achievement based ones too. Like, like Terraforming Mars. That one could drag forever if nobody does
Yeah.
the heat, or something like that.
I think that's the downfall of terraforming Mars, is that a lot of times you're going to get more points by not terraforming anything and not raising that stuff.
Yeah.
So the game will last like all freaking day because the people are like, I'm just doing cards.
The
Yep.
game is built to be stalled. It really is.
Yeah. They did have with one of the expansions. I did have the optional, like terraforming Mars is all about
Yeah.
these optional things you can do, and one of the optional rules was one of the
Venus
ratings
next.
would go up each time. Venus next, yeah, one of the things would go up all the time, and I sort of like that.
Yeah, because that kind of at least pushes the game forward.
Yeah. Terraforming Mars, don't get me wrong, is a fine game, but the biggest problem with Terraforming Mars and why Terraforming Mars Ares completely replaced it for me was that, because I did find that it was much more points by just spamming cards and just not doing the terraforming. And the only time I'd ever do the terraforming is when I could super capitalize on it because it gave me bonuses. I wouldn't touch it other than that. But yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of this game, but I had a example of a really bad usage of the random ending. There was a old like history game that I played.
And, you had me at history game.
And the ending, when it was triggered, can change the length of the game by up to an hour.
Oh. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah. No.
Well, the Huns reinvade.
Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of the game, but that's actually probably for the best.
Yeah. See, I kind of like more like the set number of turns, because also you can still also get that kind of tension of, oh man, I've only got 2 more actions left in the game. I need to make these count. So I feel like you get that. It's different, but you get that similar kind of tension that you get from, okay, the game could end this round or next round. I don't know which. And I feel like at least you can plan around it. Like at least then you're not feeling like you're throwing the caution to the wind or having to take a gamble. I mean, unless that's kind of like what you'd prefer, I guess. But my preference.
Yeah, the random ending has to be within a turn, really.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2 turns if it's a very quick turns.
Yeah. All right. So now I'm going to go into the more sensible idea of this or that. As the sensible person on the channel, I'm just saying.
Would you say you are high society on this here?
Exactly. I should have done high society, but I didn't. So instead, I'm going to do another one that I think everyone here has played, and this is going to be Champions of Midgard, and that is going to be Reavers of Midgard.
Have I played both?
I'm pretty sure Evan's played both.
I know I've played one of them.
Well, Champions of Midgard,
both right there.
More straight up.
All I see is question marks. Sorry.
All I see is question marks.
I have them over here.
Champions of Midgard and Reavers of Midgard actually have a different feel to each of them. So Champions of Midgard is more, you have to pull your resources, you have to mitigate your luck as much as possible, but you have to win the game, you have to push yourself a little bit in the game and take risks. And those risks don't always pan out. Now, I know they have the expansion where you can get points for going to Valhalla for your guys dying and stuff, but in the end, still. And that actually turns out to be more like, hey, you get 1 billion points. So I don't play with that expansion very often. So I just play with the base game Champions of Midgard, where Reavers of Midgard is more like even keeled. And if I remember correctly, when Champions of Midgard, you actually play a role, and then everyone else can follow. And when you go into the spot, so it's a little bit more engaging in that area. But that is a big difference between Champions of Midgard and Reavers of Midgard. Reavers of Midgard is more straight up worker placement with a leader and a follow role every time you go somewhere, sort of thing.
So Reavers is a I go, you follow.
Yeah.
and is more strategy based with less randomness
That's true.
into
You
the
still roll
game.
dice though.
There's some rolling of the die, but once the dice are placed, you can do some stuff with them, and that'll allow you to do certain things, as opposed to where in Champions of Midgar, they're just your straight up. I'm going to use these to attack and defend.
Yeah, they're your combat
that's it.
dice that
That's
you
your
roll. Yeah.
so Champions has that more Ameritrash, like straight up feel. This is what I'm doing with it, versus Reavers has a more strategic level feeling that there's no way that you'll get that out of Champions. Champions had some small fallings that the expansions did fix, like Valhalla did fix that. You had your Jarl who did nothing in the base. You were just like, I have an ability and that's it. Where with Valhalla, you actually got a die for him, so you got to use him as something.
Yeah,
which,
I forgot about that.
you know,
That's really cool too. Yeah.
That was the most important thing that Valhalla added to that. So you actually felt like your Jarl did something. I think if you're looking at it base wise, just base game,
Yeah.
Reavers is better.
Okay, so you're saying Reavers.
But if you put Champions with at least the Valhalla expansion,
okay,
then Champions is better.
Okay, so you can use expansions. So you're going with Champions?
If I could use the expansions, I would pick Champions over Reavers.
Okay, I picked Champions too for basically everything you just said. So,
I just ignored everything he said in any way, and it's going to be Reavers.
it's going to be what?
It's going to be Reavers.
Reavers.
I just went and took a look at the boards. It's like, I remember playing both of these. I like that one better.
Oh, so it's just more like, hey, this is pretty.
Well, no, it's
John
more of
like
I played this
dice.
one and I enjoyed it, and rolling dice is I do not like. Yes,
because dice rolling, though. But
yeah, but it felt less like
I already know what Nathan's going to say.
I think the key difference, and the reason I prefer Reavers, is because you roll the dice, that you have a luck there, but you determine what you're doing based on your roll. So you're reacting to the roll rather than planning for a future roll and hoping you don't get bad luck.
Yeah, I get bad luck with D6s. Now, if they were D12s, I might be more open to it. Because everybody else hates D12s, but that's why me and the D12 are homies.
I think D12s just cost more money. I don't think people hate them. Yeah. D6s are so dang cheap. That's why all games have them. D12s are far more expensive. I mean, we're not talking about like you have a Cadillac compared to a Ferrari, but you know what I mean.
I'm just thinking like Great Axe versus Great Sword, 2D6 versus D12.
There you go.
So there's one thing with my opinion though, is I only played Champions once and I have never played any of the expansions.
Well, to be honest, I mean, if you didn't like the base game, the expansions are not going to be like they're nice and they're great, but it's not going to be like I hated this. You're not going to be like, oh, I love this. It's going to be like, I like this. Now I love it a lot. So that's more where that's at.
Yeah, I didn't dislike Champions. It just, I thought it was a good game. It just never really grabbed me that well.
Well, I'll throw the box at you so it can grab you next time.
Yeah, I enjoyed Champions as well, but I definitely enjoyed Reavers more.
How was the box going to grab me?
I don't know. I'm just going to throw a box at you is basically the whole conversation. So Evan and I are right. All right, Nathan, what do you got?
No. Especially if you're siding with Evan.
Oh, only because he backstabbed you in a game. Now you're all surly.
A game.
Multiple games.
A game.
Since we were talking about conventions, I want to talk about when you go to a convention. Do you prefer to focus on playing as many new games as possible, or getting out those games that you never get to play? Maybe like a very long game, or something that takes higher player counts that are harder for you to get to the table normally.
Pick me.
Okay, Evan, go ahead.
I don't go to conventions other than our small local ones, so I have no opinion.
So I'm going to be in the same area as Evan. I have to run all the dang games. So I don't get to, I'm not going to play a new game. I would love to play a new game, but I want someone else to teach it. And that did happen at this convention. I was very appreciative about it because I got to play Pipeline and I got to play it before. But I play games that I know that have generally easy to teach rules. That's subjective because I played pretty heavy games there. Like the Great Wall is a very heavy game for people that don't know how to play or haven't played a lot of board games. But I try to stay in that area and I try to stay with a 4 hour slot. I try to stay in a game that's supposed to play in about 2 hours. So if I wasn't responsible to run a game every slot at a convention, I would prefer to play new games that I haven't played before.
I will put a little asterisk next to my statement and say I have gone to a couple miniature conventions.
You did, yes.
And play games there, but the more the game designs there or is designed to fit into 4 hour slots, and it's more you find something that might interest you and then you play that. So I mean, it's kind of its own separate thing.
All right. Well, as somebody who goes to Origins, PAX East, and PAX Unplugged every year,
He has no opinion.
Lucky.
Yeah, I'm going to say new games because, I mean, that's kind of what I'm usually there for. It's because I want to find something cool that people back home haven't played yet, and then I get to show it off to them. I mean,
Yeah, and you can be like, take my money.
I mean, to a degree, yeah. I mean, that does happen. But I mean, like, just like here recently with Origins, like two of the games I brought and played at SipCon, you know what? I felt like justified as like, yes, I made a good decision. That was, when I, like, Bear Raid and forgot to mention it earlier, Fortune and Famine. Like, that was another purchase that I, like, a game that I normally wouldn't have played if I wasn't at a convention. Be like, you know what? Let's try this out. Or like, Ducks in Tow. I mean, that was a lot of fun. Just playing a game where the only thing you do is you're feeding ducks and you're walking around a park with them. So, and that was a lot of fun. I wouldn't have played that, if I wasn't at a convention where it'd be like, hey, we got a game. You want to try it? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah. How about
Yeah,
you, Nathan?
I'm the same. It's pretty rare that I get to play a game that's not one of the games I own, and that pretty much the only time I get to play new games is at conventions or virtually. But as far as like physically playing a game, it's generally at conventions, and so yeah, I want to play new games, and also I'm usually the one teaching the games, so it's nice not to have to teach for once. Although if anybody's interested in a game that I know, I am perfectly willing to teach them.
All right. So
it sounds like three. It sounds like we were in agreement for once.
Pretty much.
So I think I know where this one's going to go, but I know these two style of games aren't super popular with this group of people. But if you had to pick between
I'm not
the
going to
two,
play real-time games.
which of these two style of games would you pick? A party game or a social deduction game?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I was thinking real-time, and now you just throw this horrible.
Yeah, like real time would have been like
steaming stuff at me.
Yeah.
I would have picked real time with these two. So it's party game or social deduction game, right?
Yep.
Party game. I'm not social deducing anything. Although I did like Blood on the Clock Tower. So I'm going to consider that a party game.
But here's the thing, though. Also consider this as a social deduction game would be like Mysterium.
Shut up.
Because that's also obviously
Well,
my answer.
Let's
So,
see if
are
Mysterium
you
is
social
listed.
deduction? It's a social. Wait, is it?
Let's see if it's listed.
Yeah, it's social.
You're
deduction.
socially deducing what one player is doing, but does that count as social
well,
deduction?
everybody else is
It's like
discussing and trying to figure it out.
deduction. I'm mono deducing you.
It has it listed as deduction, but not social deduction.
Yeah,
So half-
I think
half
that's
point.
I think that's fair. I think it's deduction because you're not trying to figure out what the whole group is doing,
Yeah, you're not trying to figure out who's the betrayer or anything like
right, or
that.
any of that stuff. So I think that's fair. Although Mysterium's a great game, I'm really glad it didn't fall into social deduction. 'Cause
Nathan
I was
looks
hoping that it
pained
would
trying
just to like.
I will say, like, really, the only social deduction I like is Blood on the Clock Tower, so it's still going to go party games because I can stomach party games, more of them.
So Nathan looks pained as he's trying to figure out what he's going to
Because
say
literally,
here.
Well-
his head's going to explode. He's like, I don't know.
I
what
might
that is."
change my answer now
Okay.
to save Nathan or allow him to deliberate his internal turmoil here for a little bit longer.
He's like at war with himself.
Well, my turmoil is more about Mysterium.
Hmm.
I really disliked my play of it, but it was with complete strangers, so I didn't even know the people's names. So
Mm,
not the
yeah.
best scenario for that game.
I don't know. I found like teaching with
You have to listen. It's based off of what everyone else is saying. So
the
Yeah, if you don't have a
so
group
if you have
that
a bad group,
talks.
it's bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
and if you're the storyteller for that, you have to be able to process 5 conversations at the same time. So
So yeah, if you are also listening, because that's like kind of your job is listening and deducing. Okay, this is the kind of things that they're picking up. This is what I
Stop
need
picking
to.
on the color red.
It's like,
Something
oh
else.
no. And also, I might also kind of give angry oohs sometimes.
Ooh.
Like, oh.
so Nathan, social deduction or party? What's
Wow,
your
John didn't even.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was gonna. Have to, I think I'm gonna go with party because if we go with like social deduction, it's social deduction. It's like I enjoy both of them, but social deduction wears thin pretty quickly, while a good party game won't.
I also go with party games because, well, social deduction, I think it only works for me if it's part of the game as opposed to the main focus of the game. But party games, if as long as you don't take them seriously, they can be quite a lot of fun. Generally, if a party game is good, you forget that you're playing a game. You don't even bother with the score, and it's not really a game anymore. It's just party.
It's an activity.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
for party style games, like I could stomach playing them for a round or two, like a completion of once or twice, and I'm spent. Social deduction, I can usually play more. Like I can play Blood of the Clock Tower multiple times because I really, really enjoy it. I could play Deception multiple times and really enjoy it.
Oh, I forgot about Deception. Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. So I have 2 social deduction games I'll play anytime someone asks. I have 2.
Neither of which I've played.
Deception, Murder in Hong Kong is a lot of fun. And it's not really. It's hard to explain. It's not really like. It's not werewolf level. It has more stuff to it.
Yeah, I did like Secret Hitler, and that had a little bit more than just the social deduction. Too.
Well, let's let Evan complete his thought here.
Yes, God.
So, with those, I really like the intricacies within the game itself. It puts more of a game into those style games. Werewolf, I don't really find much of a game.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people that absolutely love werewolf and multiple styles of werewolf and whatnot. We'll probably get lots of flame. Oh no, I could live without a world of werewolf. It's fine. Where I like social deduction games is when they put them past just the straight social deduction and they move it into, if I can figure out this puzzle, then I can complete this game. And that's where I like that level, which is what Deception can do. That's what Blood and the Clock Tower can do. If I can take this information, work it backwards, and I can figure out this entire puzzle, I can figure out who the murderer is, who the demon is, and go from there.
Yeah. All right. So we have 3 parties and 1 social deduction.
Yep. Well, I mean, as no surprise, Evan is wrong.
Oh no. I did. He did say 2 social deduction games that I like, so I'll give him that.
James likes social
Said
deduction
one.
games more than he wants to admit.
No, he
What's
said
that?
one social deduction game. I'll let you guys figure out which one it is.
Blood on the Clock Tower.
I'm not going to give you the answer.
Well, what's the point?
That's the
Oh,
point.
it's werewolf. It's werewolf. I'm social.
Yeah, it's
deducing
werewolf,
it's
yes.
werewolf. Actually, it's love letter.
No, it's Citadel.
Oh my gosh, I love Citadel. Citadel
Is that
is
social
an
deduction?
amazing game. I don't know that it's social deduction because you really don't know what the hell people are, I guess.
It
James
has a
loves-
small
loves coup.
element.
What's that?
James loves coup.
I do not like coup. But I do love Citadel. Citadel is I love how mean the game is. And I like being very mean in that game.
Well, I think my biggest problem with a lot of social deductions like Werewolf is there really isn't deduction. You are
It's
just
people reading.
Yeah, you're reading whether the person's lying or telling the truth. That's it.
Social deduction. That's like the essence of social deduction.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where the games fail is if you have no ability to do that, or if you're playing with people
If you
that
have
you
no
haven't played
emotion,
with, you can't have any reads on them, so it makes the game very, very hard. Whereas if you have information that you can work from, it doesn't matter so much at that point. Can I read this person if they're lying to me or not? I can prove you're lying based off of this information of X, Y, and Z.
well, in
AKA
coup,
deduction.
I don't even look at the cards. Ever. So it's you that have to guess whether I actually have that card because I'm not bluffing. I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. I'll just randomly pick a roll and I have a decent chance of being correct.
Or you just pretend to have all the rolls.
That's pretty much what I do. I don't even look at the card. I leave them there. I'm just like,
It's like, yeah, I'll block it. I'm the Baron.
yeah, I don't care. I'm the Baron. Like, are you? I don't know. Let's find
Why, yes,
out.
I am.
Well, let's take a look. Oh, hey, look.
That happens a lot too, so people get mad. It's like, I don't know. I guess I am. I'm not anymore, apparently, because I have to get a new card. But yeah. All right. So that was a good one. How about you, John?
Man, I have like a few interesting ones. But you know what? We're going to go with this one. How about a set market deck builder? Like Trains or Dominion versus the single deck market ones like Tyrants of the Underdark,
Star Realms, Hero Realms,
Yep.
Dune, Imperium, Clank. Yeah, just because day goes on forever for those.
Yep.
Or Ascension, which is the grandfather of the market style games, or the dynamic market, or whatever. It was the first one that did it. Where Dominion is the first one accredited with doing the set market. For me, it's set market because I just don't want to have random cards. So I like Dominion far more than any of the other ones. And there's so many different combinations and different things. There's so high replayability because there's a bazillion different cards. That
I'm
pick in
sorry,
different
you like Dominion more than Dune Imperium?
If we're talking about just the mechanism, yes.
Yeah, we're talking about just the mechanism. Like that, then you're starting to get into all the other trappings because then you also have like Trains, which has area control.
Yeah.
And,
So I'm not talking about all the other stuff. I'm just talking about just that one thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
What
would
you,
definitely
Nathan?
go Market Row.
Okay, Market Row.
I liked the having to react to changes in the market.
I would probably go Market Row mostly because I did not enjoy my play of Dominion, and that has sullied my opinion on that. So,
Well, maybe we could play trains and change your mind.
well, I played Trains with you, John, and I was
He
like,
did not
eh,
change his mind. He was like, I hate you.
I can't help it that you bring subpar games to the table.
Oh,
Oh,
shots fired.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm gonna have to go with the set market because
Yeah.
my problem is with the market row games. Even though some of them are good, like The Witcher has a market row for its deck builder part of it, and The Witcher is amazing. But that's because it does other things. But my biggest problem with the market row ones is it's like what you're looking for. Like you might have gotten a few cards at the beginning that are like, okay, these work out, and this is what I'm going to try and build my deck towards, and then nothing else comes out for it.
Or
Because
identical cards start coming out, and you're like, I didn't want the one before it.
yeah,
Now I have the same dang card out.
yep. And then if you get to like the two-player Star Wars one, where you could just be like in a draw of just getting nothing, like it was a nice balance at first, and now the Imperial player, nothing but his cards keep coming out. And you're like, well, I got nothing. I got nothing I can buy out there in the market, and you're just hosed, and it's just in a situation where it's just not fun. That's for me is
Yeah.
market rows
Incidentally, I
typically
think
not fun.
that game was not a good design. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Well, I think part of the reason I don't like the fixed market as much, Dominion is the main reason. I
Oh.
did play a lot of Dominion. I used to really like it, but then started realizing, okay, I sit down to play a game of Dominion. First turn, I've pretty much planned my entire game.
What's wrong with that?
It's like, well, then I'm
You're
just
trying
going,
to
okay,
build an
this is
engine.
next,
You
this is
should
next.
try to plan your game, and then pivot if you realize that you're a little off.
Right, but I almost never have to pivot. The only
Yeah.
time you pivot a little bit is like, okay, this deck's run out, so I move to this stage 2 of my plan. And it's like every game's kind of the same.
What? There's so much variety in the cards.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm
Yes and
terrible at
no.
Dominion. I'm gonna say right now, I very rarely win, or even be in the running for Dominion. Now, like thing is, I like some of the other ones that do a little bit more with it, like trains, because then you have like the area control, and you're also trying to manage the waste in your deck. So then it comes like you have a lot more that you're having the balance, and I like that a lot better.
I think the best set market game, in my opinion, the best one, period, is Eminent Domain. I think Eminent Domain is the best. It is amazing. I will crush anyone in it. Crush them. Evan's like, I do not like this. I do not like this, MIM. No. All right. So I'll go
it's
with
all terrible.
I'll go with my last one. I have a lot, but because I thought people would have board games, but whatever. You guys do what you want to do. I'll just be
Hey, you know
perfect
what?
up in my little high tower.
Yeah, you can just go and be your very simplistic. Oh, you like board
Oh,
game A or board game B?
oh, oh, that's mean. All right. Well, let's see how mean this gets. Too
Mhm.
bad Dan's not here to defend. But 51st State or Glory to Rome. So
Pick me.
just so you guys know, I will. So you guys know, 51st State and Glory to Rome are both similar style games that use multi-purpose cards to meet an end goal as fast as possible. So it's a race style game where you're playing these cards. They chain off of each other. They make big engines, and once someone hits whatever goal and we're talking about for whichever game, they win. But go ahead, Evan.
I choose the Crew because it's a card game. Because I haven't played either one of the other ones.
The Crew is a great game, but it's also a trick game. It has nothing to do with either.
I have not played 51st States. I have not played Glory to Realm.
Oh my gosh, I have to play 51st State with you.
Another false promise by James.
Have you played Imperial Settlers either?
I have not.
I like it. I
Very
like
similar.
Imperial Settlers a lot. But all right, so I'm pretty sure John and Nathan have played both. I know Nathan has. John, have you played both?
Well, this is definitely an interesting dilemma here.
Mm.
And
Apparently, you could just go with option C, crew.
yeah, I don't. I mean, crew's okay, but I don't feel like going with option C. No. Instead, I'm gonna go with option D, Twilight Imperium,
Oh my God, you guys
because
are
I
the
haven't
worst.
played either of them either.
All right, so I guess this is just a conversation with Nathan and I.
Yeah. Okay, I'm fine with that. I definitely going with. Oh, I just blanked. Wow, my brain just completely blanked. What were the two games?
So you have the choice of Bunny Kingdom or Twilight Imperium. No, it's Glory to Rome
Glory to Rome.
or 51st State.
I don't know what happened there, but yeah, Glory to Rome.
And why?
So I think the strength of this formula, the style of game, is the chaos factor, and I think Glory to Rome does the chaos factor a lot better. It has overpowered cards that really, when you actually break it down and mechanical look, they end up balancing out a little, really quite a bit. But when you play them, you just say, "Oh, that's crazy! I'm just got all this ridiculous power that I'm just gonna steam ahead," and then somebody else does a similar thing. It's like, "Oh, well, they caught up."
So yeah, Glory to Rome is more of an unstable game for the most part, and it's a lot of fun. You have broken combos in the game that's really fun, and everything's broken in it. So, but I like 51st State because it's more stable format for the game. There's no really there's no broken anything in 51st State. Um, so yeah, I go 51st State. All right, and then apparently we got Twilight Imperium in the crew in that one. So that's my last one. How about you, Nathan?
So I'm gonna go with a John version. I'm gonna go with a this, that, or that,
Ah, nice.
That.
which is Pandemic Legacy Season 1, 2, or 0.
The
Hopefully
crew.
you play them all. Apparently Evan has not played
Pick
any
me.
of them. Okay, Evan. Which one? Which other game do you want to pick?
So I'm gonna pick season 32 because I think that one was probably the best implementation of the whodats
32.
and the whatnots, and I
You
have
haven't
not played
any
of
of
them.
those? Oh my. Okay, so you have to go off of our decisions to see whether you want to do it. How about you, John? Have you played any of the pandemic legacies?
Well, no, I haven't. So I'm gonna go with Scotland
The crew.
Yard.
Scotland Yard. Okay. So I got bored of Pandemic Season 0. We never finished it. Pandemic Season 2, we did our own thing, so we couldn't win the game. It was impossible in the last season because we broke the game, I guess, because we didn't do enough of the searches to realize that the place we needed to have stuff in didn't have it. So there wouldn't have been enough turns to ever win the final season. Pandemic Season 1, though, I enjoyed thoroughly. I thought that one was amazing. I sort of like Pandemic Season 2, but I just liked how clean Season 1 was. I mean, Season 1 didn't pull any punches. It was completely obvious what was happening the entire game. There wasn't anything crazy in it. Pandemic Season 2 added some really cool wrinkles in the game, and it's like a reverse pandemic, and it adds some inventive stuff in it. So if you're looking for inventiveness, Season 2 and Season 0 is very inventive. It just got boring for our group, but Season 1 for me. How about you, Nathan?
Yeah, I'm very similar. 0, I didn't like the little. It was interesting, but there was too many of the side game things, and it got a little bit fiddly at times, and we got distracted
Yeah.
from the main game. Uh, One, I really enjoyed. I loved it. Two, I actually thought was the one I enjoyed the most. However, that said, the reason I like number two is the exploration element, but as you were saying, yes, that could cause issues. There was definitely that issue at the end, towards the end, where you could be in serious trouble. Uh, but a big part of why I enjoyed number two more was because I had bad luck in number two. Number one, we had phenomenal luck the whole way through and just like wiped through it very easily. Rarely had to replay any season, which was fun. It was actually amazingly fun, but that extra little challenge of having bad luck in my first season for season two really changed my impression of the game.
All right, so there we go.
All right, did either of those discussions change your mind, Evan? Or of which one you would like to try?
No, not at all.
Now, I will say that the best legacy game for me so far is Clank Legacy.
Well, if given a choice between playing
Gloom's pretty good too.
Pandemic
Okay.
anything, I'll choose Seafall. Yeah.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I'd rather play Seafall than Pandemic anything.
Well, I half agree with you. Seafall's a really good
Until you go
game.
through the other second half of the game and you're like, I don't know.
All
what
right,
they were
well,
thinking.
I'm just going to pretend
ahead,
that
Nathan,
the second
sorry.
half of the game doesn't exist in Seafall. There's
Okay,
only
so
the
everyone-
first part of it had
So everyone agrees the
promising
second half is garbage.
Euro builder.
The first half is good. The second half is just I guess he gave up. He just doesn't care about life anymore. I don't know
Absolutely.
what's happening. So,
Oh, and if he got towards the end, it's like we gave up towards the end of that. It's like we were never gonna get past a certain point.
yeah. There's bad design. Really,
I had
really
to
bad
actually
design,
look
which is
up-
surprising.
The how to progress further towards the end is like, yeah, there was no way we were getting that. Still didn't even make
What,
sense
you
with
didn't
the
get the little
answers.
the black light and everything, and
Yeah.
So what's Evans this or that?
or is it a this or that or that?
Yeah, it'll be a this or that. It'll be the last one I do just for the sake of moving the episode along.
Yeah.
So, theming of a game, if you had to pick between these two, would you take a sci-fi fantasy theme, or would you take something more historical / modern setting?
Sci-fi for me, you already know. Let's move on to people that actually have good opinions. Mine is just sci-fi.
All right, so again, what's the two sides here? It's like sci-fi fantasy.
Sci-fi / fantasy, or like historical / modern. So like 18X's can like float into those, or
There's a lot. There's more than just 18XX2. Like there's a lot of the Axis and Allies.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
any of that stuff falls. Yeah, I mean that's all.
And there's
under
modern
historical
equivalents
or
of it. Yeah.
yeah.
The coin
Yeah.
system.
Does
through
like
GMT
alternate
is really good.
Oh yeah, coin games are really good. I enjoy those.
Yeah, they
a
are
lot.
really good. So there's a really good examples of historic games. I just like fantasy because I can make up whatever. So yeah, fantasy.
Yes, sci-fi fantasy for me as well. And actually, this is one of the questions I thought about asking. But the sci-fi generally leads to more options, more
Yeah, because you can
sandbox
make
feel.
crap up. You'd be like, you're gonna get your flux capacitor along with your no.
Right, but no pun intended, you have a lot more space in sci-fi. You can explore, whereas medieval, you tend to be limited.
Well, I mean, there's Civ style games.
Yeah, there's
So you
Civ.
can-
There are, but
Yeah.
they tend not. I think
It's
a lot
not
of them
all
don't work
medieval.
that
Like
well.
we just routed off a bunch of them. That's like set in. You have everything from, Vietnam War to American Revolution to like there's a ton of different coin games.
Yep.
Yeah, the coin
Yeah.
game, the coin system is just ingenious in itself.
It's just a bear to learn.
Yeah,
There's definitely-
Yeah,
and
I
every
like the
time I
command and
played
color
it,
system too.
I always just I pick a side at random, and I always wind up picking the side that has like the most different types of units, the most complex to have to balance out. I don't know how I manage to do that every time I play a coin game.
because you have bad luck.
Bad luck.
Thing is, though,
But yeah,
I would want to play that one anyway, so I consider that good luck.
it's really good that three. Yeah, coin games are amazing, and then also command and color style games. There's a lot of really good ones for that. There's a ton of GMT command and color games. I also like Memoir 44 does it really well. So
Yeah, and then
yeah,
even if you get into like like modern setting, then I mean, would like I'm just trying to think like Mysterium, is that kind of modernish or
well, it's not
not?
a war game or a historic game.
Yeah, but I mean that doesn't mean that it's not like
But
not
it doesn't
fantasy.
necessarily have to. Yeah, I mean, it
Oh,
doesn't necessarily have
it's
to be a war
fantasy.
game,
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
You said medieval, so you could have medieval fantasy like Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea,
Yeah,
right?
just
Which,
yeah,
which I feel like there's a lot of great games in both categories, but
yeah. Like Food
most of my
Chain
favorite
Magnate,
games.
I would consider not to be fantasy, or that would be more modern.
But
that
it's
would be a
not
modern game.
historical.
Yeah, but you
Yeah, it
said
falls in the
modern.
modern category.
Huh?
Yeah, modern.
Yeah, it was like modern or historical. I mean,
Oh, you said modern or historical?
Yeah.
I'm still fantasy.
yeah. So I'm gonna go with modern or historical because I feel like you know what, yeah, fantasy and sci-fi is almost kind of more of the default, and it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, I
Especially like the
might
medieval
like sci-fi
fantasy.
a little bit and fantasy a little bit. I don't know, but you know, I feel like as far as like game settings, I don't know, like modern historical, I find more intriguing. Like that's kind of more of a hook to bring me in to take a
Yeah,
look at it, while everything else is like, oh yeah, that's the default. You know,
yeah.
oh hey, sci-fi mech game 34. It's like, all right, yep. Oh hey, we're in spaceships. Oh, imagine that. I haven't played that before, but playing,
Yeah.
you know, general and like American Revolution, that doesn't happen as often.
So I'm not 100% what Evan's going to answer. So I'm interested. I'm probably about 75%. So let's hear it.
So, when it comes to board games, I would lean more towards the sci-fi fantasy realm. I just find up looking at my collection, that's a lot more of where a lot of the stuff is falling in there. But my board game collection is not as large as my other collection, which is my
Your
miniature
miniature
collection.
collection, yeah.
While I do have sci-fi and fantasy in that, it is primarily, and by primarily, probably 75% or more historical. So when it comes to historical stuff, like that's where my miniatures are. That's what I like to play.
Yeah.
Do I have some sci-fi? I have Clone Wars stuff. I have Star Wars stuff. I do have some goblins and orcs for like skirmish stuff like that. But then I also have tons.
Zombies. Yeah, zombies.
I have zombies too, yeah. But my zombies also go on to my units that I use for the humans. I also use for wars of insurgency and modern day combat,
Yeah.
French and Indian War, World War II. I have gladiators. I have knights. That's where a lot of my fallings in there. I just finished up a round of Vietnam jets. I just like historical miniatures. Now, I'd have historical games. I have some chit games. I have some other stuff that are historical based. And I like those too. But usually when I'm playing board games, I tend to lean more toward the fantasy or sci-fi.
Yeah.
I just do.
Glory to Rome. I believe that one was just mentioned. I mean, that one might not be fantasy or sci-fi there.
It's
Alternate history, I
it's
still would
it's
consider historical.
it's literally a card game. If you understand what it really has, like it's supposed to be like you're rebuilding Rome, but it's a card game.
Did I
Yeah.
answer the question as you thought I was going to answer, James?
Yes. And actually probably the right proportions too. Yeah, so John, what you got?
Oh, now and I have to choose my last one here. So we've already
Yes.
done the rounds one. We've done the deck builder one. So if I have to pick one of these, I think might cause the most interesting conversation. I'm going to go with
Yes.
which of these could you find more
Are you going to
forgivable?
do this, that, or that, or that?
Nope, this is just a this or that.
Okay.
All right, which of these can you find more forgivable? An amazing game with mediocre or lackluster art direction, or a game with amazing art but middling gameplay. It's like not offensive, but it's not like amazing. So basically you have which is more of a detractor and which is more of a boost, the artwork or the game mechanics.
So, although that I've been slowly moving more to thematic games over my gameplay, I used to be completely like Euros. I love Agricola, I love Caverna, those type of games. I am still mechanic over art. So, if a game is not mechanically sound, I'm not going to like it no matter what the art is.
Yeah.
So, but if a game is beautiful and has crappy mechanics, I'm not going to hold on to it.
Well, no, that not crappy.
Or
It just
even
has.
even mediocre.
It's an okay. So like it's basically
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
unfortunately, okay doesn't do it for me. There's too many games. Even if I love the art, I do have one exception that's hanging out over there. But and I just don't play the game. I just keep it for the art. Like literally won't play the game. Uh, but I'm mechanic over art. So
To answer that question, I like Terraforming Mars.
So he's definitely mechanic over art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also mechanics over art, but I'll even go even further. If a game looks really nice but is mediocre, that's for me that's almost worse than it being looking mediocre and being mediocre, because the looks kind of get me there. Then I feel like betrayed almost by
Yeah,
the
because
fact
they're
that
sort of like a liar. They're like, hey, we put this lipstick all over this pig, and especially with ones I pay a lot of money for all the miniatures and everything. There's nothing worse than being like, wow, this game sucks, or it's okay.
At least you got miniatures that you can repurpose.
Yeah, I guess.
Here's the thing though: is like,
Not that I've done that before.
would you even get to the board like ignoring Terraforming Mars, because you know what, the art is not that bad in comparison to some games.
Oh, compared to some games like Ethnos, I love Ethnos, and the art on that is like horrendous. I love a lot of horrendously art games.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, I was
would you have
trying to
even
think.
gotten to the table though? A lot of times, a game that looks horrible,
So
in comparison to how it plays. I mean, that's the question: is like, would it even get there?
with the people that I play with, yes, we play a lot of really ugly games. So if it's not like offensive or I don't know, I mean, like some of the games we have like the worst art on the face of the planet, and we still really like them.
Well, the other thing,
But I can see what you're getting at. It just works for me because most of the people I play with don't care.
the other thing with ugly games that have great mechanics, a lot of times you can get them for almost nothing. So that's even more.
That's a good incentive too.
Or like they're almost print and play like a lot of 18xx games. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as everybody else. I mean, for me, like I prefer a game that plays better. I don't.
Although art is nice, so
art is
it
definitely
does
nice.
enhance. But yeah, if it's not there, yeah.
I mean,
But
in
I
the
mean,
past,
it definitely will take me from like a game that I probably would have rated amazing to it's okay. It really needs some work and polish.
Yeah.
in the past we talked about a few of my games that I really enjoy, but they're hideously ugly. And a lot of that's like, oh, Time and Space. I never would have tried it if it wasn't for less than $10. Then I tried it, it's like, oh, I felt like I found this amazing game that nobody knows or cares about.
Or the Concordia cover, or Sidereal Confluence. That game looks like butt, but it's a fun game. How about you, Evan?
I mean, I can overcome some of the art. I honestly can. That's not a problem to play a mechanically sound game. Like I said, my example is honestly Terraforming Mars. I mean, that's a perfect example that the game's mechanically sound for what it is. I mean, we've talked and beat that horse quite frequently.
Yeah.
But the game works. And we've all played it. We've all enjoyed it at various points in our gaming lives. But the art is butt. It is.
They
butt.
literally rated open source clip art.
It's
Seriously,
it's terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah, but I've overcome that. Like when I played Terraforming Mars now, which it's been a while, but the last couple of plays, which was the digital port for it, honestly, I don't even look at the pictures anymore. I read the card and I play it. I don't even look at the picture because it's just it's bad. So I know that going in. Now, like the overlay that they have on Mars, and the board, that's not bad. That was decent art.
It's okay.
But well, compared to the
Compared
rest
to the
of
cards,
it, it's good.
Yeah.
But like the cards themselves, and that's the key components to the game, it's not good.
And they're not even even mildly in the same area, too. So it's just like random art.
Yeah, but then that kind of gets us to like the problem that we had with Last Kingdom, was it?
Yeah.
And like other games like that, it's like, I mean, I don't know,
See, I love the theme. Oh, it's weird because I love the theme of Last Kingdom. I love the gameplay of Last Kingdom. I'm not really a fan of the art in it. I mean, the board looks like butt, too. That doesn't help anything. So I wish they would have brightened that out a little bit. And the cards art's fine. The game's amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is one. I mean, the cover's meh. Voluspa, yeah, and it looks like glorified dominoes, and it kind of sort of is, but it is a really good game. It has like no table presence. It's like a very simple to learn game that's extremely thinky.
Yeah, and we've gone through a lot of the art. We had a whole episode that we discussed art games. Really, it's finding that balance of what you enjoy in arts, in your game or not, because there's a lot of examples. Like one of my favorite artists in the game is the Miko, but not everyone is a fan of his art style. So does that detract from the game because you just don't like that art style itself? And that leads into questions like that.
Yeah. Like I said, unless it's like offensive art in some way, I really don't care. I mean, it doesn't. I won't say it doesn't enhance the game if it's good art and a good game, but it does. And I would appreciate good art on games that are good.
Speaking of which, what was that one Kickstarter that you reviewed that they put you as a card?
Oh yeah, they did. Oh man, what is that one? Oh man, I can't remember. But yeah, I was actually literally a card in it. I was a bad guy too. It was pretty fun. I was super happy with that one. I should actually repost that because that was an awesome picture.
You have to dig that out of the archives.
Yeah.
Just been in so many board games that you can't even remember anymore.
I've been in at least two. So I've been in at least two.
All right. Next time we have a discussion, we should all find like cards that look like James and just bring them like
it's the bald guy. You're like, no, that's James. Like, yes, it is. Okay. I had my first name in it, which helped too.
Guildhall. Yeah, that's
the cover
for Guildhall. That looks like James, though. The guy holding the pig, I think.
So for me, I am thinking of one game though that at least for me, the game is okay, but I really like it though because of the art. And I mean, I'm thinking of Parks.
Parks is an okay game.
Yeah, it's an okay game, and it's enjoyable, especially like playing 2-player. But for me, I really enjoy it because it's very thematic, and it's like the whole game is about enjoying the artwork on it. For me, so it's it's almost a little more thematic in a way,
And that's where you're talking about immersion too. So like, if a game is good and it's really good with a thematic portion of it, it really immerses you in the game. And there's different game styles that actually help out with that. Now I know that one's not really sort of abstract, so
Yeah.
but it does work. So there's a whole big thing on immersion they can go into.
Now, odd little exception for me is if the game is about the art. If it's something like you talked about Ford Guardians,
Junk art,
or Tang art, yeah,
Or modern
Junk
art.
modern art.
I am more forgiving for the mechanics
Modern
not
art's
being
one
that
I'm talking
strong.
about.
What was the other
Well,
one?
junk art, which is a different game, doesn't really have much going on it. You just stack stuff and try to either. There's like different. Every city has a different module that you play. But yeah,
Oh yeah, the other one I was thinking was Kanagawa, where you're painting Japanese portraits and landscapes.
all right. So
Oh, I do have one quick one here. This or that.
okay,
This is a little spicy. This is really more for Nathan.
Okay.
okay.
All right. Imagine you're playing a game and an opportunity arises. And you can be very spiteful and sabotage James or Evan. Which do you sabotage?
James.
What is it? All right. So he says James. I'm fairly sure I know John's answer.
Evan, yeah. So
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
So we got a split vote on that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if Peter was here, I would have proposed talking about D&D or Monopoly.
I don't know which way I'd go with that. All right. So that was it. And now we have a very special silly game that Evan will be running. So without further ado, let's do this silly game where I win.
Question is, will you, James? Will you?
I'm just going to say that I am. Doesn't matter.
And you're going to edit it so that you do.
Yeah. This is the power of being the editor.
Yes.
So
the score is James 1 million to everyone else.
So we are going to play a variation of 5-second rule.
Okay.
5-second rule is where I'm going to give you a topic where you have to name 3 things that fall into that category within 5 seconds. However, to make it simplistic is all the answers have to be board games.
All right. Well,
I'm going to give you topics, themes, all sorts of different things. And if you can name it, you get a point. And if you can't, no points for you. So, in a random order, chosen completely 100% randomly, and you can have BGG up. I don't care because you have a 5-second timer. So I doubt you can type quickly enough.
I can type fast.
I blurred my background, so you can't use that.
I couldn't see it anyway, so.
In the random order, we're going to go Nathan, then John, then James.
Oh, good.
I have so many categories that I wrote down within 2 minutes of after my dinner time today. And we are going to, I hope, when I put this whole category of super hard ones for John, and then real easy ones like, Monopoly versions for everybody else, like.
Oh, man, I don't know that too well with that either. Is it the Simpson one? I know the Simpson one exists.
Can you name 3? Name 3 of anything is probably true.
Yeah.
Cat, dog, mouse.
Pennsylvania, Nintendo. I know those ones are.
All right. So Nathan, and I'm just picking randomly off my sheet. And I'm going to start my timer, and I will cut you off when your 5 seconds are up. Your category is, and as soon as I'm done saying the category, it starts. Racing games.
Downforce, Flamme Rouge, and Formula D.
Did not get it in time.
You didn't say Heat.
Yeah, you didn't say Heat.
All right.
So you're looking for a specific one?
Just three
I
things.
thought you got 3 in. You got Flamme Rouge, Formula D, and then Downforce.
Too slow, though.
Too slow. 5
seconds.
seconds.
You said it before you said
Well, you got to delay with "ernt" because you can't say "ernt" in 5 seconds.
Oh, at least by my recording, he made it.
Well, I'm keeping the scores. So.
Yeah, he's
All right.
the boss.
I want to argue
Also,
with him.
you
though.
guys picked on us, so yes.
All right. So John's next out of the super hard category. We're going to pick. I actually did not put a super hard category. I just wrote all these down.
Slow tonight.
All right, John. Viking games.
Champions of Midgard, Reavers of Midgard, and I don't know.
Nah.
I only know.
I don't know if
two.
anyone's gonna get points in this because I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to move.
Well,
fast.
the winning
there's
points
a-
may be 1 or 2.
I think there might be a timer delay issue here.
Or you didn't even get 3.
No, I didn't. I was like, I got 2, and then I was like, I can't think of a third Viking game.
All right, James. Puzzle games.
Oh, Patchwork, Indian Summer, and I ran out of time.
Wow. It felt like he had a lot more time than me. He didn't even
5
say
seconds
Peace
comes
Road.
quick. Nathan.
I think maybe we should change this to a 7-second game.
We'll see if no one can get anything. It might have to be like a 40.
It might be. Nathan. Fighting games.
Don't no.
And you
here-
blink a lot.
Yeah.
Nope is not acceptable.
I knew I had one in my head. I just couldn't think of an actual name, and then I couldn't switch to a different game fast enough.
All right, John.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we did that one already.
Okay.
Games that involve witches.
Wax.
Quacks, I guess, but
And
are those are alchemists? No,
What are your
Well,
recent
we even
most
played Broom
favorite
Service.
games that we
We
played?
did play Broom Service, Quacks.
nope, that one doesn't exist.
Because you were betrayed. You were betrayed so hard.
I've already blocked that one from my memory.
Yeah.
All right,
Also, Room
James.
Service, the card game.
Yeah.
I think you might get this one.
All right. Okay.
Pirates.
Oh, Shiver Me Timbers, Seas of Havoc, and Pirate Plunder.
He gets it in time.
Even with
James
having
gets
to
1
say
point.
"Shivers Me Timbers" is a long game.
So James is winning by 1.
Mm-hmm.
John.
I've been robbed.
Wait, isn't Evan next?
Or no,
Nathan
Nathan's.
next?
Sorry,
Yeah.
Nathan. Nathan's next. Post-apocalyptic.
Oh.
Deer in the
stuck in
headlights.
one game. At a panic.
51st State. We just talked about it.
Fallout, Wasteland.
Post
Yeah, I suppose
Humus.
that's part
And
of
then
Armageddon.
there's also, what's that?
I was thinking of the trucking one. What was the trucking one?
You got to keep moving if you can't get the chucking. What chucking one? There's a. What is it?
The pick up and deliver that I gave. Wasteland Express.
Wasteland Express. Oh, okay. I got that.
Well, no.
Pickup delivery. Yeah, Wasteland Express is another one.
Fallout.
All out. Yeah.
Yeah, I
All
could have
right.
just named the Fallout game.
You could you could have just said like I don't know any dystopian words and you would have hit them like Armageddon,
Before,
Thunder Fury Road.
Yeah.
John. Dexterity-based games.
I hate it. That's my answer. I don't even want to answer it. You know what? I'll
Oh, you
say
don't
Meeple
like-
Circus. That's the only good one.
Meeple
There.
Circus is fun. Yeah. Also, that we talked about earlier. Oh my gosh, I'm not doing well because I forgot it already. So, Junk Art was another one in there, or you could have done Rhino Hero or Super Rhino Hero. Both of those are fun.
Let's go to the back here. Some more that I have. And for James, comic book based.
Oh no! So there's going to be Hellboy. There's going to
Mind management.
Well, Hellboy was one.
Yeah. You could have just started throwing out there stuff like Marvel something, and probably it would have been true.
Oh, I had
Pal.
so many Marvel games over there.
Dead Winter did a comic book titled Blades.
Oh,
did a
Rising
comic
Sun
book.
did a comic book, but it's not a comic book based game, and neither is Dead of
True.
Winter. Because
All
it came
right.
before it.
This will actually be a good one for Nathan. I'm going to pick this one for you.
Okay.
Games that have an MSRP over $100.
Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, and
Oh,
Oathsworn.
I like it when he's stuck. You blink
you're like, nope,
so fast.
that one over there. That
The
one.
thing, the
That
words.
one.
Yeah, you went out. You went strong too in the beginning.
Yep.
And I figured the first two that you were going to say, that's why I was like, I'm going to throw this one at Nathan.
I guess I could have gone deluxe version of anything too, like Predaporta.
All right, John, how about this one for you? Games that are over 25 years old.
All right, Stratego, chess, and Go.
There you go. John has a
Easiest
point.
Category ever.
Maybe that's my way of extending the olive branch.
Yes, yes. Let's see.
So then you get to switch him with it.
The carrot and the stick.
James,
Okay.
app-based game.
Oh, draw shit.
I don't know that game.
I'm not familiar with that one either.
My mouth wouldn't say Freelancers or Forgotten Waters or
XCOM.
Mansions of
Madness.
Madness or like.
I was expecting you to spit out Mansions of Madness just like that because it's one of your favorites.
Yeah. I got stuck because I knew the two for the Crossroads system, and I was like, blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
All right, Nathan.
Listen to myself. Okay.
Namaste.
Problem with this one is you don't have a lot of these games on your collection.
Oh.
Name me 3 big box games.
El Grande, Alhambra. Too slow. Carcassonne is going to be the third one.
Wait, what classifies as big box? Are we talking like basically like Gloomhaven?
He was literally doing ones that say big box.
Ah.
The big back
Alhambra,
versions,
big
I assume,
box,
is what
yeah.
I meant.
Yeah, big. All right, John. This might be up your
All right.
up in your wheelhouse here. Games based on a video game.
All right. Fallout. And yeah, that's the only one I can think of that are based
Mega
on a
Man.
video game.
Mega Man.
Oh yeah, there's Mega Man.
Centipede.
The Mega Man Adventure game is actually pretty good.
I mean,
The,
Boss Monster count?
Yeah, Boss Monster's 100% based on video games. Yeah.
Yep.
And there's like 1 billion expansions for that. Plus, they also have Boss Monster Overlord. And
It's
then
not
they're
really
having a
based on a video game though, but it's based on a video game.
It's based on enough on a video game. It's basically based on classic games. So.
Yeah.
And then you also have that what's it called, Dungeon Cart coming out,
Dark Souls.
based on 2 types of video games. Dark Souls, yeah, that's another good
Yeah,
one.
Dark Souls. Oh, The Witcher.
The
Yep.
Witcher, yeah, you were just talking about that one.
Yep.
Frostpunk.
Frostpunk.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
know,
Frostpunk
1800.
I
is
mean,
in
it's a fine game. It's just
this War of
Monster
Mine.
Hunter.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
War of Mine. Yeah, that game is like verbatim. I hear off of the video game.
Oh, so is Frostpunk. It is like very much like playing the video game.
Yeah.
You had Fallout Shelters.
Oh yeah, I have Fallout Shelter sitting over there too on the shelf. So yeah.
All right, were you guys ready to watch me fail?
James. This may be a person to 2 or 3 here, the way you're going.
Okay.
So, James. 2-player only games.
Oh, Beer and Bread, Battle Line, and Land, Air, and Sea.
My name's James, and I can get all the games.
That sounded like
I play a
more than 5
lot of
seconds.
2-player games.
He got that in right at the end.
So. Ha ha.
I feel like my first one was a lot faster. Than that.
No. Fail.
Yeah, it was.
Nathan. Hidden movement style games.
Scotland Yard, Letters from the Whitechapel, and Spectre Ops.
Got it. Nathan's on the board.
Fury
There's
of
just
Dracula.
so many of this in
The one
there.
I-
Fury Dracula, yeah. I was
There's a
thinking that
lot
one.
in there.
There's so many.
There's the one that I really want to play that's coming out. It's like kind of based on like you're like a ghost, you know, like I saw it at Origins, you know, and like PAX East for the for like the past year. I can't remember what it was, but like all the players have flashlights.
Luigi's Mansion?
Yeah, I think
I
know what
like
you're
my
talking
answer
about.
better. I can't
John.
remember.
Zombie themed game.
Zombicide, Dead of Winter, and Zombies.
Oh, should I let that in there? Should I let that in there?
You're the boss.
We'll give you a point. We'll give you a point. I'll be a little more forgiving because points are very, very thin right now.
Although zombies,
It's not much of a game, but it is a game.
The technically accurate is still technically.
technically, it's still technical.
Technically accurate is the
Technical
best kind of accurate.
James,
Oh no.
tower defense.
Oh, Castle Panic. I'm gonna fail already.
You failed. Your tower did not defend very well.
I got one. Castle
You
Panic.
got one. All right. So, Nathan, on the opposite of a question I asked you already, games with an MSRP under $20.
The Crew, Fox in the Forest, and Haggis. Too long.
Is the crew actually under $20?
Yeah, it
Yes.
is.
I can't remember.
It's like
bought my copy a while ago.
$14.99 or something. It's actually very cheap for what you would think you would have to pay for it. Sushi Go is another one that's super cheap. That's a good game.
Name any button shy game.
Any button shy game ever. Great value on those games. Now that I have like 30 of them. So, but it was really good solo games.
John, tell me about World War II.
Oh, World War II games. You confused me with that. I was like,
I think it's just already out.
yeah, Attack is the only one I got there. The Alternative History World War II. At least get one in there.
All right.
But I was like, wait, what do you want me to tell you about World War II? That doesn't sound like that. It's like, oh no, that's the theme.
James, mafia themed games.
There's an air
Godfather's
one.
all I got.
Was it the Cuba one? That's like basically Mafia de Cuba.
With Fidel Castro.
No,
There's
it's
Mafia.
Mafia.
Oh, I
Mafia.
should have said Mafia, but yeah.
No, there's
The
like
only one I really like in that category is Godfather, and even then I'm just like, eh.
It's here, there.
Nothing personal.
Is that?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
Nathan,
there's Mafia, then Mafia de Cuba.
Oh, that's not the one I was thinking about.
steampunk.
Steamworks, Our Majesty's Navy, and Frostpunk. Too long.
City of the
right?
Great Machine.
Oh yeah. And it's on Her Majesty's service. Is actually the actual name of
Yeah, it
the
would
game
have been close enough anyway. Who cares?
So right now it's Nathan with 1, John with 2, James with 2. The next person that gets a point here is going to probably win.
Unless it's me.
Unless it's Nathan, he needs 2.
All right, let's do this.
All right, John. What's the hardest one I could pick for you?
Any of them. I'm terrible.
You got 2, so. Murder mystery.
Mysterium, Clue, and Who Killed Dr. Lucky.
John gets a point
Oh, John
and
won.
wins.
Who Killed Dr. Lucky? I hate that game.
Yeah.
But it does fit in the category.
It does. Does it? No, it doesn't. It's not a
kinda
murder
does.
mystery.
It is. It's just the mystery is who's going to be able to actually be able to finally kill
It's
him.
not a mystery. You know, he's gonna kill him. It's just which one of you is gonna be able to do it. Not like, hey, who did it?
Well, let's see what BGG says.
Oh no, please no, because then we're gonna keep going. Because I guarantee you, this doesn't say murder mystery.
I'm pretty certain it probably doesn't say murder mystery.
Who killed Dr. Lucky?
It's like
I'm trying to think
Dr.
of anything
Lucky's
like a
closer
third
to
one.
Munchkin than it is to any of that stuff because you literally will win or lose based on what players have left in their hand to thwart you. Eventually, you're going to have enough power,
Yeah.
to take out Dr. Lucky. So it's more of like that. Wait until people burn their cards and then.
So, kill Dr. Lucky. Category: humor, murder mystery.
I'm super glad. I'm not. I'm gonna say they're wrong. So wrong. But BGJ, yeah, you're good. I'm good.
Every time
I'm good
I've
with
ever
this.
played that game, it's never about the points that you have at the beginning.
No.
Usually the person that wins is poking Dr. Lucky in the eye because everyone's out of cards.
Exactly. So it has that Munchkin thing going with a normal Munchkin game. Once people run out of cards, you win, or someone else wins.
All right.
But,
Well,
yeah.
what is another murder mystery game then?
Mysterium.
What do you mean,
Oh, I already said
Mysterium?
Mysterium. I know, but that I didn't already
There's
say.
Clue.
Mysterium,
Mystery in
Clue.
the Abbey.
There's Mansions of Madness.
Deception.
Is Mansions of
Yep.
Madness a murder mystery?
Yeah.
Yes, they have multiple scenarios that are murder mysteries in Mansions of Madness.
Okay, that's a scenario in it though, but is it a murder mystery on its own?
Well, I bet you BGG says it's a murder mystery. Who killed Dr. Lucky's a murder mystery?
You can even argue letters from Whitechapel and Scotland Yard.
No.
No,
All right.
Scotland Yard.
Mansions
no.
of Madness
Not
to
a
settle
myth-
this here. Category: murder mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
alright.
it definitely has multiple murder mystery
Yeah.
scenarios in it.
Chronicles of Crime.
Yeah, Chronicles of Crime is a good one.
I guess.
Chronicles of Crime, that's a good app-based one you could have picked too. So,
Yeah.
Whatever Hong Kong
Detective.
Deception,
Deception,
Murder,
murder in
Hong
Hong Kong.
one? Yeah.
Blood on the Clock Tower would count. I'm just looking over like
Is that a
Like
murder
games.
mystery? That's,
Yeah, Blood on the Clock
I guess-
Tower, the whole point is a murder mystery.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, because- yeah, you're trying to
Oh,
find the
werewolf.
demon in there who. So yeah, who's killing people? So yeah, any of that would have fit.
Okay. So I hope you guys all like this show of this or that, and the silly game here. And stay tuned the next time. Y'all have a good night.